Hello, seniors. Welcome to the next Concrete Next Step webinar. We're going to talk about applications and financial aid. Here's our objective today. Our objective is that seniors will review how to set up an FSA ID for the FAFSA and finalize their personal statements. So far, you've made some great college lists. We're going to review a little bit of those and then dive into the next big part of the application process of personal statements. We'll get a couple reminders about those college lists first. We'll talk about tips and tricks for your best personal statements. We'll talk about this thing that's an FSA ID. It's okay if you haven't heard of that before. We'll explain more. You'll have time to debrief with your mentor group, and then we'll go over some action items for today. Shout out to those who have already created your college list and listed what you will apply to in Overgrad. We just want to give a real quick reminder. Some of you have done great work, and you're still marking your list as following. Remember, if you see these green buttons that say Add Application on your Overgrad, that means you have not yet finalized your list. You just need to hit that green button, select how you're applying, select Will Apply, and add it to your list. A strong list will include at least those 5 schools, and they all say Will Apply. That will unlock features later, like our Common App integration, and allow us to support you throughout your application process. If your list is complete, the CNS team will provide you some feedback between now and the next webinar to make sure you have a well-rounded list you're applying to. And if you need any support, keep curating your list. Many of you have experienced college fairs or interactions with college representatives recently. You can update your list and continue building on that. If you have questions, please email us at concretenextstep@summitps.org. We also want to recognize that there are a number of pathways you can take after high school. We're going to call these post-secondary pathways. College is just one of them. There are a number of others. We've talked about four-year colleges and universities so far. You could also go to trade school or vocational school, where you're in a school setting, thinking about a specific type of career or program that could get you into a work field. You could go into the workforce, which means just getting a job after high school, trying to earn money for yourself and income to support yourself and those who you care about. You could get an internship or apprenticeship, which is really being in a work setting, getting prepared for that career. You'll receive mentorship and guidance along the way. Sometimes these are paid opportunities, and sometimes they're unpaid, working towards that job one day. And of course, there's also community college. Those are 2-year schools, usually cheaper than a 4-year university. Also an opportunity to get some prerequisites or general education requirements out of the way, where you can earn an associate's degree and choose to go into the workforce after that, or transfer to 4-year college. As you're thinking about all of these options, we also want you to keep in mind the earning power associated with each of those pathways. If we zoom into the orange box, these are the opportunities you can take after high school. With a high school diploma, we see an average weekly earnings of $809. If we compare that now to a bachelor's degree, someone who has graduated from a 4-year college or university, we see an average weekly earnings of $1,334, a difference of about $500 a week. If we extrapolate that over the course of a year, that's $26,000 difference between high school diploma, bachelor's degree. We also want to compare that to the employment rate for each of those pathways. For graduates with a high school diploma, there's about a 6.2% unemployment rate, compared to a bachelor's degree, 3.5% unemployment rate. All of these pathways are going to be personalized decisions for you that you're going to want to talk with your family, with your mentor, and other supporters in your life about. As you look at this data, think to yourself, what pathway is going to lead you most to a fulfilled life? What pathway is going to give you the most opportunities for economic empowerment? But let's zoom into right now. In senior year, so far, we've done some great college research throughout August. We're now in September. Starting October 1st, the financial aid process begins, where the FAFSA, the WASPA, and the DREAM Act open. These are different applications that you'll fill out one of to apply for financial aid. At the beginning of October, your site will host Cash for College Night, where you'll get support completing these applications, filling them out, and submitting so that you can get financial aid offers from your colleges later. Going into November, application season begins. You're going to get some great support at your senior application night, where you'll get feedback on your essays, feedback on your application before you submit from peers, from faculty, from outside partners, sometimes even admissions folks. Great support is coming along the way, so pace yourself as you continue to work on your application as application season begins. You may also be thinking right now, how do I even apply? There are 3 types of application submission dates that we want you to think about. The first is early decision. This is a great option for students who really know where they want to go. You've done robust research. You already know you have the qualifications, and you've started working on your application. Please note that this type of application is binding, meaning if you are admitted, you must attend. Often these schools their deadlines are in the beginning of November, sometimes even around October. There is also a second round for some schools of early decision in January. You will get your decisions earlier than the regular pool, so you can have that information earlier. Also, there's early action. Now, this is a good fit for a student who says, I know generally where I want to go, and I just want that information ahead of time so I can have that for me and I can talk about with my family and my network of supporters. There are 2 types of early action to be mindful of. One is restrictive early action, meaning similar to early decision, you can only apply to one place, and you need to wait until you have your decision back before moving forward. There's also non-restrictive early action, meaning you can apply to an unlimited number of colleges and submit applications just so you get that information back. Lastly, there's regular decision. We do recommend that most students use regular decision because it gives you the most time to really curate your college list, think about where you want to go, take time to develop your application, get rounds of feedback from your peers, from faculty, from supporters in your life, and then submit on that regular decision deadline. These deadlines really vary from November all the way through February of your senior year. Between all of these 3 types of applications, every school will have their own policies. We strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that you go to each college's website to find out the deadlines and the policies associated with early decision, early action, and regular decision. Many of you are also starting to think as you start these applications, man, I need some letters of rec too. Many of you have already completed brag sheets from your junior webinars, but in case you need another one, check out this link. It's also in the description box below. Just click show more. You can send it to your recommender so they have enough information to write the best recommendation for you. As we go into application season, the big thing we're really going to focus on is that personal statement. Many of you have already started drafting yours. So Mrs. Rosas is going to give some top tips and tricks on how to pick up the work you've left off and make that essay even stronger.
Some of you have already started writing your personal statement. Some of you might be done and you're ready to get feedback. For those of you who are still working on your personal statement, we wanted to remind you of what a prompt could look like. So some examples, the first one is from the Common App. And the lessons we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, a setback, or a failure. How did it affect you? And what did you learn from the experience? That's for the Common App. Now, if you look at the second example, this is from the UC application, and it's called a personal insight question. Describe the most significant challenge you have faced and the steps you have taken to overcome this challenge, and how has this challenge affected your academic achievement? They are very similar, so if you're working on one or the other, you could use a lot of it from one application to the other. Just keep in mind to answer specifically how the prompt is asking the question. So some general tips is just to be yourself. Focus on one story. Having too many stories could confuse the admissions counselor, and they probably won't be able to figure out what exactly you're trying to say. Share what you've learned and how you've grown. They love to see progress. Stick to the word limit. If you go over, that's too much. They only have a certain amount of time to look over your application and get a lot of feedback from a lot of people, peers, parents, teachers, anyone, any trusted adult, any friend can look over your statement to make sure that you're answering the prompt exactly as it's being asked. Some schools do have supplemental essays attached to the prompt that you've already answered. So some schools might request just a little more writing, just to keep that in mind. So who has to write a personal statement? Let's figure that out first. So seniors who are applying to California state universities, that's Cal State East Bay, that's San Jose State, that's San Francisco State, you don't need a personal statement. If you are applying to the EOP program, that's the Educational Opportunity Program, which we recommend you apply if you are eligible, if you're first generation low income student, you are going to be asked a few questionnaire questions, not exactly a personal statement, but just a few writing prompts that you'll have to answer. For the University of California, that's UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC Merced, UC Riverside, you are going to need a sort of a personal statement. They're called personal insight questions. There is a word limit. There's 4. There is about 8 to choose from, and you have to choose 4 out of those. For the common application, yes, you'll need a personal statement. There are 7 prompts to choose from, and the limit is 650 words. All of the Washington public colleges are accepting common application. Other private colleges, yes, most of them need a personal statement. Scholarships, yes, some of them do require personal statements. The one that you've written, let's say for the Common App or for the UC, you could reuse. Don't start from scratch. A lot of the prompts that scholarships ask are similar to the prompts that are on your Common App, on your college applications. If you're applying to jobs, yes, most employers will ask for a cover letter explaining why you want that job position, why you would be the best candidate for the role. So your job is to continue drafting your personal statement today. If you have already started your personal statement, we want you to add it to your Overgrad. So logging into Overgrad, you're going to click your My Profile, My Documents. You're going to link your essay from last year or the one that you're currently working on. Something to keep in mind is to be very specific on the name of the file. It is called a personal statement. This way the CNS team can track students who have submitted a personal statement. If you need feedback, this is definitely how we'll be able to find your personal statement. Be sure to change your settings to anyone can edit and save the file. So by October 19th, you should have a completed personal statement. All right, you've been working on your personal statement, and what is coming up next is Cash for College. And where are you going to get money for college? So the way students receive money for college is to fill out a financial aid application. That is the FAFSA, the California Dream Act, or the WASFA. So what form do I fill out? Which one belongs to me? So if you are a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, you're going to fill out your FAFSA. If you have a social security number, you're going to use it for FAFSA. If you are a non-U.S. citizen, if you are undocumented folks, you are going to fill out the California Dream Act or the WASFA. Be sure to complete the correct financial aid application based on your citizenship status. Your parents' citizenship status does not apply to your application. If you're unsure about how to complete or which one you need to complete, definitely ask for help. And we will have Cash for College night where you will get on-site tech support from a financial aid expert. So before you leave today, take a picture of this. You can always come back to it. The slideshow is on the description box. So Cash for College is coming up on October 6th or October 7th, depending on your school site. You will get more information soon. And we expect all seniors and their families to participate. On this night, we will hear from experts about the FAFSA, the California Dream Act, or WASFA. And to prepare yourselves for this night, we do highly encourage and recommend that you create a federal student aid ID number. ID. This is how you will be able to sign and prove your identity as you're filling out the financial aid. Why do they ask for this? This is federal money. You're asking the government for money, so they need to know that the person asking for the money is that person. So create an ID for yourself using your social security number with your full legal name as shown on your social security card, your birth certificate. The ID is an electronic signature again. If your parents or your legal guardian has a social security number as well, have them create one. Whoever will fill out the application with you also needs an FSA ID. If you have a social security number, but your parent or guardian does not, you still fill out the FAFSA. They will just have to sign they'll have to print out a signature page and mail it off. If you don't have a social security number, you just fill out the WASFA and the California Dream Act, which do not require the electronic ID. Record your username and password somewhere. You are going to need this every year when you reapply for financial aid every year you're in college. That was a lot, but we're going to take some time to pause and debrief with our mentors. So what are you writing about for your personal statement? Let's talk about it. What future earning potential is important to you? We talked about post-secondary pathways. Which one are you considering? What has the conversation been like at home regarding affording your concrete next step? And what questions do you have? You can pause the video here. Welcome back, everyone. I hope the conversation was great. If you still have questions, always feel free to GChat concreteNextStep@summitps.org or email us with questions if you have any unique situations going on. So for today, for the rest of the block, you are going to draft and link your personal statement onto Overgrad. You're going to share your doc with anyone with the link so we can take a look and give feedback if needed. Tag us if you want feedback directly from the CNS team. We can take a look and give you some feedback. Set up your FSA ID for yourself and a parent just to get ahead of the game when it comes to Cash for College Night. The timestamps and resources are in the description box. You just have to click Show More. We have some alumni advice about how to write your personal statement. What did they do when they were writing it? We have a Writing Strong College essay resources with examples of some personal statements that were successful. We also have an FSA ID tutorial video if you need a visual aid going through the tech process of filling out your FSA ID.